Let's dive more in depth in the 8 different pillars. So pillar number 1, growth governance. So what problem should growth governance actually solve? 3 topics to cover. So the idea of these topics is that we align these topics with the innovation initiative and governance practices from the corporate. We create an environment for innovation projects to operate similar as venture capital. Number 1 is we need to create predictable timelines for the go-to-market of new ideas with different milestones and phases and adequate investment mechanics. And I will show you examples later on. Number 2, corporates need big revenue numbers to allocate resources for a project. So what corporate venture teams should be able to do is to forecast the scalability potential of ideas for the immediate and near future. This will help the company to understand where do we need to put our money. Number 3, forecasting should also involve the possibility of existing channels and brands, and corporate ventures should be able to leverage the assets to scale fast. And let's be very clear about this. Within a large company, we don't build startups. So a large company has unique assets, distribution, brands, IP, people that we really need to use and leverage so that we can scale faster and use their machine to build bigger businesses. Therefore, hence, pick your ideas wisely. What is this dedicated growth governance? What you see here is the CEO and their management team as sometimes a chief entrepreneur. Where the CEO runs the core business, he can have a chief entrepreneur next to him, or he is 2 roles in one person, but they also are responsible for leading the venture board, which is really focusing on the innovations, beyond the core, adjacent innovations, to measure and fund these through the right metrics and process. Most of the time in a venture board, you have a limited number of C-level executives, the CEO, the CFO, from R&D, and depending on the type of innovation, you would like to have a category or business unit leader also within the venture board, if the person needs to take the innovation at one moment in time back to their own business. Important is that you have an external challenger. In the venture board, it is a process in which we really train and develop a new muscle on how to act as an investor and which metrics and funding mechanisms you use, but also which behavior helps the team and which blocks the team. An external challenger will give you a fresh pair of eyes, but also coach you on the day-to-day conversations that you have with your team. What is this venture board doing? 1, you set goals and your strategy. What do we need to achieve growth-wise in what type of time frame? You need to secure the financial and talent resources. You need to apply and work towards metered funding. Basically means the team needs to show you progress from the market through their experiments. They don't show progress, that means that there can be a go or no-go moment. The project can be stopped at that moment in time, or you give the team more time to understand, well, maybe they need to make a pivot. So they don't lose their vision. You still go after the same idea, but the pivot means that you take a slightly different value proposition or a different pricing model or a different target audience. So you change in the business model. The venture board is also responsible for managing the portfolio of initiative. As said, the start, continue, or stop decisions. Ideally, you have this type of meeting each 6 to 8 weeks for 2 hours or 3 hours to really dive into the portfolio and the progress the teams are making. You also need to be available for the venture teams for immediate decisions because the teams move fast, they will solve many challenges, and they need your support in that journey. The end-to-end accountability of the venture board is from idea to scale new ventures. They are responsible for the strategy, what are the bets and which opportunity spaces are we going after, the validation process, which to stop, which can we grow in the venture building unit, and which initiatives go back into the core business because they can leverage the assets they have. Last but not least, is that you also need to understand the buy, build, or partner decision. Sometimes you do your own due diligence by sending a team into the market and understand, is there a pain point and an opportunity to play? If that's the case, you can always look for acquisition targets and buy a new company. You could also look at, are there already existing companies in the market that are maybe interested in a partnership with us? That needs to be managed very well, because a large company and a small company are definitely not the same. Last but not least, you can also think about building it yourself. But this is a strategic decision, and the venture team and the external challenger or coach of the team should prepare this decision wise so that the board can actually make a decision.